Hello and welcome back to another episode of this On the Side. Oh, I screwed it up. Of the On the Sideline
Start it
podcast.
over.
It's got to start it over. Yeah, let me do the intro again and everything. Let's just get right back. Yeah. Okay, we're not going to do the whole thing, but yeah. How are you doing, Kyle?
I'm doing good. I was at high school basketball yesterday.
Me too.
You were?
Yeah, I was with you. Yeah.
Yeah, high school basketball is just a train wreck, man.
How so? I've never been to a high school basketball game. I was actually lying 2 seconds ago when I said I was with you.
Yeah, the high school basketball is just horrible. So there's no shot clock.
Okay.
And so what you have is you have certain teams that have like really talented players, like D1 level players. And then you have teams who suck. And basically the only strategy teams in high school basketball have come up with when they suck is they're going to hold the ball for the entire time.
Sure.
Until you're forced to defend them, and then that's when they move. So, like, imagine if the Lions just started saying, you know what, no more play clocks, and the Lions just said, we're going to run the ball one time and then hold the ball until the end of the first quarter.
Mm-hmm. And then everyone would say, oh, my God, Dan Campbell, how did he kept them at halftime tied? Incredible.
Yeah. I mean, he's that's an elite coaching move from Campbell. But,
Wait, so why don't you just, if you suck, just hopefully you go up like 2-0 and then just like hold on to the ball for the entire game.
Well, you have to be able to hold on to the ball.
I guess so. Okay.
Once the other team pressures you, that becomes difficult.
Well, speaking of horrible sporting events, let's talk about the Seahawks playing the Washington football team. Kyle, what was your thoughts on this train wreck?
Like you said, this game kind of stunk. It was ugly at large parts of the game, and my biggest takeaway was, once again, stick a fork in Seattle. They're done.
Yeah, again, you were very much on this in the early going about the Seahawks. One of your better takes. I just don't know what to. To me,
I have the receipts, by the way. All the comments that said I was an idiot.
Good, I like it. I was one of them. I think.
Yeah, I think you were. But no, it's just one of those things where it's, I continue to look at this team and the same things I kind of thought in the offseason, I kind of feel right now. This is a team built on 5 players being exceptional and then everyone else kind of just doing enough. And when those guys aren't exceptional, this team isn't very good. Bobby Wagner held up his end, but Russell Wilson's numbers look pretty good. And I thought he was fine for the most part. But he really didn't get anything going until that last drive of the game. And that was the only time he threw to DK Metcalf. It was just kind of a dud from Seattle once again in a game that felt like a must-win against a winnable game for a must-win game.
Yeah, well, let's do the other side. Let's do because I think that's all fair. How about the Washington football team? Are the Washington football team, do we need to – I told you – I asked you this about the Falcons, and they immediately lost like 7 straight. Not really, but they fell off a cliff. Do we need to take the Washington football team seriously? Listen, I did my analytical power rankings. They still have a tier 1 run defense, tier 1 pass rush, tier 1 offensive line. The lines are – if this was, 1974, they'd be Super Bowl favorites right now. There is good stuff about this team. Can Washington squeak into that 7th seed? All you have to do is, pass Minnesota, who can't seem to get out of their own way a lot of these games. Is there a chance the Washington football team could be a legit postseason contender?
Potentially, but the problem is we keep falling into this trap, I feel like, where we keep trying to think, hey, is this maybe not so good team actually kind of good? And we did it last week, literally with the Eagles, which is the same team, basically. Not constructed the same, but it's a team with a lot of flaws that we think might be okay. And what we learned after last week is they're just okay and they're not playoff caliber. With this Washington team, I think that there's good things about this team. I love McLaurin and Gibson. I like what they can do. Heineke, we've made our comments on Heineke on this podcast, but he, plays his ass off. So you have to give him a lot of credit. And, that defensive line, like you said, but there are there's a lot of holes in this team that are beatable. There's a lot of teams that can beat the balls by throwing the football and beating this team downfield, which is kind of what Seattle started to do at the end of that game. And they just waited till the end of the game to try doing that stuff. I also think Seattle's passing game is kind of easy to scheme against, but, I'm just looking at their schedule. Raiders, Cowboys, Eagles, Cowboys. Like, what is going to stop the Raiders and Cowboys for throwing for 1 billion yards over those 3 games?
Yeah, that's totally fair. The flip side, though, is you play the Eagles twice and you play the Giants. So you can pick up those 3 wins. That gets you to, 8 wins, and maybe you can just upset one of the other ones to get you to 9. The Raiders will beat themselves at times. And Zachary Stewart says, yes, you need to take us seriously. The balls are bouncing. So there you go. Very excited Balls fan in the chat. Let's move on. I think we've covered this game enough. Let's do the preview show. Kyle, despite your disastrous week last week and my pretty impressive week last week, because of the locks of the week, you managed to actually move up a spot, given the way our format works. The lock of the week really is an overpowered factor in this game.
It's only 2 points. I don't know, man.
But it's a 2-point swing. So, because of that 1 point, I would have gone from getting 2 points taken off my score to 2 points getting added onto my score.
Well, it's too late to change now, unfortunately.
You're right. I'm just complaining. I'm just salty because I thought I had a good week last week and I don't get credit for it.
Well, you're still up 1. You got that going for you.
That's true.
So I guess it starts with me giving you a game, huh?
Yeah, it continues that way until you take the lead. So give me a game. Where are you going here? Several options you could go with. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's an interesting week because there's like 5 or 6 really tight spreads, and then there's like 6 or 7 games that I think are going to be blowouts.
Yeah.
So I'm going to actually start with this game. I think this game's pretty interesting because I think these teams are both pretty even. I'm going to go with Chargers at Bengals for number 1.
Chargers at Bengals. This was number 1 on my board as well. I was hoping I could give it to you. Yeah, this one's tough, man. I mean, the Chargers are a very fascinating team. I made a whole video. I'm not sure if this came across your desk, Kyle. The Chargers are incapable of throwing the ball in exactly one spot, and it's in between the numbers from the 10 to 20 yards down the field. They've really struggled at that area of football. Everywhere else, they do well. They do above league average. Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback and actually number 1 in passer rating when throwing the ball 20 plus yards down the field. Despite this, they throw the ball, I believe, 23rd most 20 yards plus down the field. So they need to start doing that more. They need to start taking chances more. I think that this is a Cincinnati team that actually the way to beat them might be to kind of go underneath a little bit. So this might not be the worst thing in the world, but another big way to beat them is with over the middle stuff that they're not that good at. The flip side, though, is I do think the Bengals passing attack is better when they have teams who are going to come at them, have teams who are going to play single safety deep. They can run the ball well. I expect Joe Mixon to have a big game. I am going to go Cincinnati here to win.
Yeah, it's a really interesting matchup because I do think the Chargers could have success throwing the ball. We've seen teams have success on this Bengals pass defense. And I think the Chargers could have success doing that and going at them. And like you said, the underneath passes, that's Austin Eckler's game. He could have a big game in that regard. But I'm also just concerned Joe Mixon just goes nuts in this game. And then the Chargers don't get the ball at all because they can't, stop Mixon at the line of scrimmage. And if they keep losing that battle, I mean, that's the worry with this Chargers team all season is like the right matchup with teams that can run the ball effectively, which Joe Mixon has been, awesome this season. That's just not going to bode well for what they like to do. So I think I'd lean Bengals here, but it's close because like I said, I think both offenses could have a lot of success in this game.
Yeah, it should be a fun game. I mean, who would have thought, a few years ago that this would be a game we'd all be looking forward to, or even heading into this season. I don't know if we would have all thought this would be a game. Chargers a little bit had some buzz. I guess both teams had some buzz, but they've kind of lived up to the hype a little bit. Bengals, I think, more so than the Chargers so far. So that's kind of why I lean there as well. I agree. It should be a fun game, and I think it should be very interesting.
Yeah, I guess I'm interested to see what this Chargers passing game, because I did talk about it. It's good. I feel like it's lost a step these past couple of weeks. And maybe it's because, like you said, there's more data on where Herbert's successful and where he's been struggling this season. And teams are adjusting to it. But, Mike Williams also has to get back going again. He's someone who's really cooled off after a huge start. I think he has to get going again. I think this passing game needs to get going again for the Chargers.
Well, here's the thing is, for Herbert, obviously Herbert's going to get the blame because he's the quarterback. But, you look at his numbers the year prior, and he didn't have a problem with that. So I think it's more of I think it might be a scheme thing. We all said, oh, great, Anthony Lynn is gone, fantastic. But it's not like this team has been particularly well coached on the offensive side of the ball, because that's kind of the thing is, we all trust Brandon Staley, but like you have to get the good offensive coordinator. So they need to start coaching better. I still think they're a year away. I still think they need some guys who can help stop the run better. And I think they need a third option in the receiving game because Williams and Keenan Allen mostly have success, outside the numbers. Need a slot receiver, I think.
That's probably fair because right now Eckler's basically that guy.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair as well. All right, let's move on. I'm going to give you a game here. I'm going to give you, this is actually, I think, a sneaky good game, even though the line at first kind of surprised me. I kind of get it. I'm going to give you balls at Raiders. Where are you going here?
Yeah, I had this one, I think, third on my list. I am going to go with the Raiders for the same thing I just said on a Monday Night Recap. I'm worried that the Raiders might be able to throw for 1 billion yards in this game. I still, even though the balls, I think, have figured some things out, I still don't trust their downfield coverage. And what we saw with Deshaun Jackson last week and how much he helped as he's figuring out this Raiders offense, how much he helped just extending the field and opening up Waller, Renfro underneath. I just think that the Raiders are going to be able to throw the ball all over. I don't think the Raiders are totally back to where I thought they were at the beginning of the season, but I still think they're a decent team and better than Washington.
I think they're a better team than Washington. I would agree with that. I think the fascinating aspect of this is I feel like I've liked what Washington's done on defense recently. And the way the way we've seen Carr go off is teams who will play a lot of man coverage. Carr just dominates against that. And that's not what Washington's going to do. So that's kind of one way where I think I could see this being one of those teams that'll just drop back, play coverage. That has given Las Vegas some trouble so far this season. And maybe that could happen again here.
It's potential. But you also just need the dudes to stop. At the end of the day, football is kind of like your best guys against my best guys. And I think zone coverage helps limit that because I don't think their secondary is that good. But I still just trust the Raiders guys a little bit more.
Yeah, I do as well. I think the Raiders are the correct pick here. I'm fascinated by this Raiders defense because we all talked about how improved it was, how great it was. I don't know how great I would be willing to say it is at this point. Like it's had some good moments, but it also has had some tough moments. Obviously, last week we could say, well, it's Dallas, but at the same time, Dallas was missing a couple of receivers. So, there's stuff to like. Like they're still, solid, but for EPA per play, they're currently 24th in the league. So their defense, maybe we overhyped them after a few good weeks early on, or maybe just I think probably more realistically what's happened is teams say, oh, they just play cover 3 zone every time. Let's just scheme this stuff up. I do kind of trust Washington in a game where we're going to see a lot of old school style coaching. I think I like Washington's old school style better than Las Vegas is.
Yeah. I just think that we should have learned by now that the teams who just sit in their base defense are built to fail nowadays. That when you're throwing different looks at the offenses and quarterbacks, you become much more successful with defense if you can be good at it. I think these teams that are playing more base defense and just kind of sitting in their coverage scheme are the defenses that struggle the most, especially throughout a season.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I don't even hate having this is the coverage we typically do, as long as you're willing to mix it up with some consistency.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in a 3rd and 8 situation, you say, hey, this is what our defense does best. This is how we get a stop. But you also need to change things up every now and then. That's, I think we've seen it with a few teams this season, and the Raiders are one of them, definitely.
Yeah, it should be fascinating. I'm definitely looking forward to that one. Let's move on. How about you give me a game?
All right. I'm going to hold on to that one. I'm going to give you Giants at Dolphins next.
All right. Giants at Dolphins, marquee matchup. Mike Glennon, the giraffe himself, is back. I think I got to go Miami here. I mean, I just don't know how much I can have faith in the New York Giants in this one. I do actually trust this Dolphins offense. Tua has continued to play well, and he can do, I think, especially well against this Giants defense where they're not really going to come at Tua, which is the one way we've seen Tua struggle, I think. So I think that could be a benefit for Tua. I think that these receiving corps, Jalen Waddle has quietly been really good these past few games, really this season. I mean, he's grown into his own I trust Miami a lot more in this one, even though I am, the Miami hater, the resident Miami hater of this podcast.
I think I agree. Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing is that it would be hilarious because, just last week, like I said, everyone said, "Hey, the Eagles are back. The Eagles are back. The Eagles are in playoff contention," and
Mm-hmm.
coincidentally, they lost to the Giants. Everyone's saying the Dolphins are back. They're going to go on a
Uh-huh.
run here. It'd be a little funny if they managed to drop this game or the Jets game coming up. And I still think that while things look better, I still think it's a flawed team. So I still think anytime it's beatable, which is why this is probably only -3. But I do think it's a better team than the Giants.
I love this comment, made me laugh out loud. The great Luke Brown, I finally figured out why Jackson hates the Dolphins. He is just mad that the Bucs aren't the best team in Florida anymore. Yes, that is. Well, I mean, come on. I don't think any of us are better than Jacksonville.
I don't know, maybe a little Florida International University football. You a
Sure,
fan?
there you go. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, a Noob Master 60 Mime says it's ironic DJ is out because of a neck strain and Glennon is nothing but neck. Yeah, that is a bit funny. Hopefully Daniel Jones is okay, but also yes, a little bit funny. I'm excited to see Mike Glennon. I remember the Mike Glennon days back in Tampa Bay. I always kind of liked Glennon. Not a great quarterback, so they're probably going to lose. But it's he's one of those guys, right? You just always see him pop up like, oh yeah, him.
I got to admit, the change from Daniel Jones to Mike Glennon did nothing to my rankings list.
Yeah, you're not. I mean, I think that this hurts the Giants. I think I would rather have Daniel Jones in there.
Sure,
Hmm.
but I don't think it's that big.
No. Hmm.
It is amazing though. How has he not like hurt his neck once in this? Has he hurt his neck before in his career?
I don't think so, but I mean, he doesn't play that much, so it's pretty easy to stay healthy.
Well, I mean, I just imagine walking down the street with that thing. I bob my head once to some music and I'm out for 3 weeks. I mean,
I guess so. Yeah.
that's an
I,
elephant trunk on his neck, basically. I don't know how he does it.
Sure. Let's get back to the game for a second, I think. Yeah, the flip side is like, I don't know. I mean, this Miami Dolphins pass rush, which, uh, I mean, it made the Panthers offensive line, which admittedly isn't a good offensive line, but it made it look just foolish out there last week. And Jalen Phillips has sort of awoken, which is cool because he was someone we were all excited to see and kind of had a quiet first start of the season. And he looked, I mean, Jalen Phillips against the Panthers, I don't know how much of it is just the Panthers, probably most of it, but he looked like an elite edge rusher last week. Again, part of it is just because like all we know is he can look elite against the Panthers offensive line, but that's still like a promising sign.
Yeah, I mean, there's flashes there. So, I mean, I feel
Hmm.
good about it. He looked really good. And I hope he continues to develop because I thought he was really good coming out of the draft, too. So,
Hmm.
good stuff from him.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll say, give me the Dolphins. I think they cover 3 points too.
You going to lock it?
No.
All right.
I never will do it. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to give you one. This might be, people might think this is a reach. I might get some reaches in the chat here. I don't think this is a reach. Give me Cowboys at Saints. Saints allegedly going with Taysom Hill. I don't think I have to say allegedly there, but I think they're going with Taysom Hill against Dallas. Dallas is 4.5 point favorites. Where are you going here, Kyle?
I'm still going to take the Cowboys. I still feel pretty good about them winning this game. I think they need to get right game. And with CeeDee Lamb probably coming back, I feel good that they can win this game. Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is that just, is Alvin Kamara going to be healthy? Because we've seen now this team without Kamara is just bad. And it's respectable, at least on offense, when he's on the field. And the dimension of him and Taysom Hill in the backfield, I think, could give Dallas some issues, but they need to get him on the field is the big thing. So with the unknown of him not being on the field or not, I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
Does Trayvon Diggs, if Taysom Hill plays, does he end up recovering a fumble in this game just to continue like the turnover luck?
Yeah, probably. He'll
Yeah.
get something.
It would have to be something where like he gets beat on a catch and then someone else forces a fumble and then it goes right to him.
And it bounces off of 3 guys and he's the only guy left to grab it. Yes, that's
Exactly.
exactly what's going to happen.
Well, one of the things I think is fascinating as well is you look at the again going back to EPA, my new favorite stat. Dallas has done well against the pass for the most part, but it's the rush that they've been mediocre to bad against. They're 18th in EPA against the running game. So if there is a Taysom Hill centric offense, I do think that that could kind of hurt Dallas a little bit, and it could allow the Saints to move the football. And the question, of course, is just how healthy is this Cowboys team? I think for the Cowboys to win, they're going to have to run the football and run the football a lot, which they can do. I think Dallas is the correct pick, but I do think that the Saints have a chance for some upset potential here.
Yeah, there's a pathway to victory here because that defense is still good. But like I said, I think the biggest thing just is like you said, I do think Hill could make an impact in this game running the ball. But I just think the big problem is without Kamara, and not only that, without Ryan Ramczyk potentially, like I just think that's really difficult. Because then it's basically, they're going to key in on Taysom Hill and Mark Ingram, and that's a lot easier to handle than having Ramczyk and Kamara out there.
Yeah, you're right. That's absolutely the thing. And again, I think the Saints are like Saints might even be a playoff team if they're healthy. They're just banged up.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a tough break for them. And I do feel like the Cowboys, it's not a must win or anything like that because they still lead the division. But I do feel like they kind of need to figure this stuff out and get going.
Yeah, underrated. One of my favorite games of the year is the Thursday night game a week after Thanksgiving, where they have a full week's rest, but we still get like football on Thursday. Huge fan of that.
Yeah, maybe the Cowboys, maybe the NFC East should just go like full MAC for NFL and just do all their games on Thursdays.
Wait, so they would just play each other each week on Thursdays?
No, I mean their teams that they play would obviously have to play on Thursdays, but I don't know. The MAC definitely does everything on like Tuesday and Wednesdays, and it's interesting because you get college football on Tuesday nights. But yeah, that's my theory.
Is wild.
It's a weird sport, man, and it's getting weirder as we talk about. Everyone looks for every excuse to make fun of the NCAA, and it's like because a coach takes another job, everyone just wants to crap all over the NCAA for it.
Yeah, I've always felt like college football's not really real, anyways. Like let them do whatever.
Don't say that too loudly in the South. You'll get beaten for that.
You're right. Luckily, I'm far enough south in Florida where it's not going to be an issue.
Yeah, those USF fans are going to come for you. They probably agree.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on. So so you give me a game. Where are you going here?
All right. I guess I'll just have to do it. I was hoping to pick it myself. You smartly take it. I'm going to give you Bills at Patriots.
Yes. All right, Kyle. You're New England Patriots.
Patriots at Bills, sorry.
It's fine. No one would notice if you didn't call it out. Bills taking on the Patriots in their home stadium. Kyle, I feel good about your team. I think that this is a team where the Patriots cover well. The Bills have had trouble when they can't get guys open, which I know sounds like obvious, of course. But, still, really, if you can kick out Stephon Diggs, which I think, Patriots will be able to do, whether it's with J.C. Jackson or if that's not working, they'll just double him. And honestly, J.C. Jackson should probably work. The Bills are probably going to have to run the ball a lot. I actually think that kind of maybe the weird pathway to success for Buffalo is going to be Josh Allen running the football a lot. Like him using his legs might be kind of the thing you have to look out for New England, but I don't really know if I love that as a game plan going in. And the flip side is the Patriots should be able to run the ball pretty effectively against Buffalo. I would assume there's no Tre'Davious White. It's going to take some time to figure out how to deal with not having an elite corner on your side. I'm not just taking the Patriots. I'm locking up the Patriots. Give me the Patriots. Give me the lock. I love New England in this game.
I do too, and that's what concerns me, I guess, is that I think it's a really good matchup because with Tre'Davious White out, I think they can throw the ball. And, Bills' run defense is ranked, I think, tied for second in yards per attempt.
Sure.
But at the same time, like the only real guy they've locked up is Antonio Gibson. Like the two losses that they had with glaring losses were, Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry going nuts. Now, granted, you could argue those are the two best running backs in football, but I think Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris have really shown that they can be this, real duo in the NFL that's going to be, up there with the upper echelon running backs. So I think that they're going to be able to run the ball. I think that without White, they're going to have success throwing it. And like you said, they're going to find a way to scheme Diggs out of the game, or at least limit his effectiveness. And it comes down to, can Josh Allen make enough plays in this game to do it? And historically, New England's game plan is like, hey, we're not going to get upfield on mobile quarterbacks. We don't have to. We're not going to try for sacks. We're just going to stay at the line of scrimmage and don't let them get outside of us, basically. That's been the game plan for New England for years when it comes to mobile quarterbacks, or Le'Veon Bell when he was with Pittsburgh, actually. But, I do think that one of the things that's been added dimension with this Patriots defense is the fact that Matthew Judon can chase down quarterbacks and still rush the passer. We saw it last week with Tannehill. Tannehill tried to get loose a couple times. Judon just tracked him down, and he held him to a minimal game. And that's something that, like, if a quarterback gets outside the numbers on the Patriots, their linebackers are typically too slow to track him down. Judon's able to do that, and I think that adds a huge part to this defense.
Yeah, I think that's all good stuff here. So Kyle, how confident are you feeling in this? Give me a percentage chance the Patriots win.
I considered locking this up myself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the matchup's in our favor right now. I feel like the momentum's in our favor. I'd probably go 75% New England right now.
Wow, I feel like that's high, even for just any team.
I love this team. I can't get over it.
Mm-hmm.
I am literally obsessed with this team right now. I'm just high on everything. Mac Jones, PFF's seventh best quarterback in football. Everything about this team I just love.
Yeah, Kyle. Guess where the New England Patriots are ranked in my analytical power rankings currently?
Well, I don't have to guess. I saw it. It's number one.
Yeah, number one. And did you see not just number one, but for a 17-game projection of 16.3 wins through 17 games? So that's pretty high, Kyle.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So I was looking at that too. Does it have
Mhm.
Mac Jones as the tier one quarterback?
Yes, because I think because again, you said seventh ranked, but if it all it does is it takes every quarterback who's thrown a pass into account. So like if you miss a couple games, so like for example, Kyler Murray outranks Mac Jones, but the Cardinals don't outrank the Patriots in passing.
Yeah, that makes
Hmm.
sense. Um, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this works out. I think the one thing I got to double check this. I thought I saw today Kyle Duggar has COVID. Yeah, he's on the COVID list.
Hmm.
And I feel like that. I mean, he's been our big tight end guy along with Adrian Phillips, so that's going to be an interesting matchup if he's not able to go. But I still feel like there's enough guys there with, I think Adrian Phillips. Obviously, you could throw Miles Bryant in that pseudo safety role. I think there's enough guys.
Yeah. Well, here's the pathway to victory for Buffalo is Josh Allen goes off. Like that's just the thing. It's like when you're dealing with this like powder keg of Josh Allen, it's like at any moment it could explode and then your defense loses. Like that could just always happen on any given Sunday or Monday in this case.
I think so too, but I think he's
Hmm.
going to need one of these secondary guys to kind of have a moment. You know,
Hmm.
if they got like a Cole Beasley 10 catch game, or Emmanuel Sanders breaks one, or Dawson Knox has a couple big third
Hmm.
down conversions. You know, Matt Breida breaks a big run. Something
Sure.
like that happens. I think also needs to work in their favor.
And I say, Josh Allen, run the ball 10 times. I want 10 rushes from Josh Allen. It doesn't have to be all designed runs, but get him moving. That's a huge asset you have. These games matter. This is an okay time for him to take a hit or two. I think it makes sense.
Yeah. I think your cards should be on the table these two games.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is the real test for both of these teams, because I think the argument with both of these teams is that their wins aren't overly impressive. We didn't really know what Kansas City was at the time of that Buffalo win, and then you look at New England and people talk about the Chargers and Browns wins as just being kind of okay. I think these are big tests and big motivation factors for both teams.
Here's the one other thing. The flip side, Mac Jones, young player. This might be his most, this might be the biggest game he's played of his college, or excuse me, of his NFL career. He's obviously played in bigger games in college, so that's kind of nice. One interesting factor is, I've talked about this before. When he's not blitzed, his passer rating is 103. When he is blitzed, it's 85.7. It goes down. I think a lot of that is he just gets rid of the ball very quickly. So, he doesn't turn the ball over much there, but he just doesn't get the ball down the field. Is this a guy where you want to blitz him a lot? And do the Bills know this? And will the Bills try to blitz him a lot and try to just get him off his game? Because a lot of people think like, oh, Mac Jones, he's been good against the blitz, but he actually, like numbers wise, he's been much better when he isn't blitzed.
Yeah, I think the one thing has been I think he throws the ball well in the blitz. The one thing I have seen is teams have started to throw more of like a it's been kind of like a delayed blitz at the Patriots, and
Hmm.
he struggled with those the last couple weeks. He's got hit for big sacks in the last couple games. But throwing the ball, I think he reads the blitz well and gets the ball out at the blitz and does a good job with that. So I completely agree. I think it's a bad strategy to go at him like that. It'll be interesting. As I looked it up real quick too. PUBG Shooter brings up weather forecast, 10-day forecast. We got Saturday night showers, potential Sunday night showers, and then Monday potential snow in Buffalo. Uh,
Okay.
that could be some fun stuff.
I feel like that favors New England.
I think so too.
Hmm. All right.
I
Well,
mean,
very
they
good.
can't throw the ball 35 times in the snow and
Mhm.
ice.
Or maybe it favors Buffalo because it'll just force them to run the ball, which might actually be their pathway to success.
It's potential, but I
Hmm.
still think New England's going to have success on the ground too.
Yeah, I think both teams have a chance. And if I had to give a percentage, I'd probably say like 60% New England, maybe not 75. Kyle, very
Yeah,
high.
it's probably
Uh,
abrasive, but I
yeah,
don't
I
care.
mean, like,
I love
would
this
you give
team.
75 for the Rams to beat the Jaguars? Like, I might give that like 80.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I think
Uh,
I was a little too hot on that one. I'll turn that back a little bit. Let's reel it in.
okay.
I'll say 60. How's that?
So, okay. That's much more reasonable. Let's move on. I'm giving you a game. I'm giving you divisional matchup. Close line here. Maybe it shouldn't be. Seahawks at home against the 49ers. Where are you going here?
I'm going 49ers. I almost locked this up, but I refuse to because the NFC West is a dumb and the Seahawks can't do anything normal. So
Hmm.
they can't lose normally either. And I just
Right.
don't think that they're going to be able to do it. I don't think they'll win this game just because, I don't know, the season just feels lost after that game. It really does. And I don't know the
Hmm.
success they're going to have. And San Francisco's played well. They're doing a lot of really good stuff. They're throwing the ball well when they got all these guys healthy. Hopefully Debo Samuel's able to play. I haven't really seen the update on that actually, but I think that 49ers are still going to have success and they win this game.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think the 49ers should be able to scheme up stuff against the Seattle defense. I think they'll have no real issue doing that. And then the flip side, it's just like I don't know what to make of the Seahawks offense whatsoever. But this game does have like Seahawks backdoor cover to lose by 2 written all over it. So I think it's smart to not lock it up.
So exactly like last week, basically.
Yeah, exactly like last week.
um, so yeah. So by the way, Debo Samuel and Fred Warner out 1 to 2 weeks, but
Okay.
those are huge. But I still feel pretty good about San Francisco.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, 49ers are like, so once again, I did the sort of pick every single game from here on out and see which teams to make the playoffs. I'm projecting the 49ers to win 11 games this season. Like, I think that they're a pretty good team. And especially when they're healthy, they're looking like the team we expected them to be heading into this season.
I feel good about them at the start of the year, and then they really
Mhm.
tailed off, and a lot of it had to do with health. But I was just kind of like, is this team ever actually going to get healthy? And then
Mhm.
now they're all of a sudden back. So, I kind of feel good about them again.
Yeah, I think so as well. Want us to move on?
Yeah, we can move on. Not a lot of games left to pick from here, gotta
Mhm.
say. I don't know why this team keeps getting respect, but it's the closest line left, and it's the only one I really feel good about giving you. Ravens at Steelers.
Yeah, I don't get this line either. I did have another game ahead of it, even though this is the only one that is within 7 points. The Ravens are 3-point favorites over Pittsburgh. This was a lock candidate as well. I'm assuming the logic behind it is just that divisional matchup, and it's Ravens Steelers. It's always a fun game when these two teams play each other. And maybe like you figure Lamar didn't have his best game to say the least last week against Cleveland, and the Steelers are a team who can stop the run well. So you're going to have to throw it, but I think they should have no problem throwing it against Pittsburgh. So I don't really think that's going to be too much of an issue. And the flip side, I don't know how Pittsburgh gets anything going offensively against this Ravens defense. So yeah, if I had 2 locks of the week, I would lock this one up as well. Give me Baltimore. Give me Baltimore to cover.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Hmm.
I don't think the Steelers are good. I think even with Baltimore's defense playing better, I still think some teams can have success throwing on them, but not this team. I don't believe in this team. I don't believe in Ben Roethlisberger. This has all been well documented on the show. I mean, I don't think there is a big Ben Roethlisberger defender left out there. Um,
Right.
so I guess the one thing is like, Steelers still have talented receivers. Could one of them pop off and have a big game in this one? That's a possibility, but I still
I
don't
mean,
think it really.
it's a possibility the way like Hollywood Brown going up and having like are the Steelers receivers that good?
I
Like
mean,
they have
how I
guys who are
feel.
solid.
I think you know how I feel
Okay,
about
Deontay
Deontay,
Johnson, sure,
and he's been really good this year. So yeah,
sure.
but yeah, Claypool, Smith Schuster, those guys. I think they're solid. I don't think they're anything spectacular. I'd like to see him with a real quarterback.
Yeah, I think that's maybe a fairer way to say it is this passing attack good? Which the answer is clearly no.
Yeah. Their quarterback's a 110-year-old like oak tree. Like he can't move. So
Uh-huh.
I don't know what they're supposed to do with him. I don't know. But
We could
yeah,
we could
I just
what about
what's
Mason
that?
Rudolph?
We've seen
Save the
Mason
season.
Rudolph play professional football. They should just bring in Tim Boyle at this point.
I think Philip Rivers might be available.
That's probably an upgrade, don't you think?
Yeah, probably.
Right now.
Philip Rivers was better last year than Ben Roethlisberger was at the end of last season. At the end of last season, we both saw him. Rivers had like the better like last 5 games or so than Roethlisberger did.
Philip Rivers' oldest son, is he been upgraded to Ben Roethlisberger?
Ooh, there you go. That's a good. What about bring Brett Favre out of retirement?
Well, here's a real question. So, like, if you could
Mhm.
have like a choice right now between like picking a backup quarterback off of any other team or Ben Roethlisberger, would you take the backup quarterback off of any other team?
I get any backup quarterback?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think give me like an Andy Dalton. Give me maybe a Mitchell Trubisky, a Gardner Minshew. Yeah, I think give me the backup quarterback.
Okay, here's a new question.
Okay.
If you could take like with no like basically come walking into practice tomorrow,
Hmm.
any college quarterback or Ben Roethlisberger, who would you take?
Any college quarterback. And by the way, I do not follow college that closely. I think give me Ben Roethlisberger. I think at that point, give me the guy who has played NFL football.
Fair enough.
Hmm.
I think I agree with that one. That's probably fair.
Yeah. All right. Well, we covered that game nicely. Let's move on. Let's go to another one. I'm going to give you a game. This one, I think this line is way too high. This is not only above 7 points, it's a double-digit line, but I'm going to give it to you anyways. Give you Broncos at Chiefs. Where are you going here?
Yeah, this one was really weird too. I had this way higher on my list, and I don't trust this line because the Broncos defense is literally built to play Kansas City. Like you got to think when they put
Hmm.
this team together, this is saying, "Hey, Kansas City is in our division. How do we
Yeah.
stop this team?" And this
Hmm.
is the kind of defensive scheme they came up with, and it's the defensive scheme that everybody's run who's frustrated Kansas City this season. I'm still taking the Chiefs just because I believe in the talent on that team is still better. But at the same time, like, I'd probably bet Broncos plus 10 right now.
Yeah, I love Broncos with given 10 points. I think that's great. The flip side is how much can the Broncos really do offensively? The Steelers defense has performed better, but again, like the Broncos have a good receiving core, and the Broncos can run the ball well. So like,
Mhm.
I don't think that they're dead whatsoever. And what's fascinating about Mahomes is there's been all this talk about all these turnover worthy plays, all this stuff. And you look at the numbers, like, okay, that's actually pretty consistent to what he's done his entire career. What isn't consistent is him being able to push the ball down the field. PFF has a stat called big time throws, and his are like cut in half this season in terms of how often he throws them. Like, so you're not getting the big splash plays the way that you have in previous years. So with that, and the Broncos aren't going to give you that, that's kind of the key to success. I also feel like weirdly, I think people overreacted when the Chiefs had a few bad games. I don't think people have overreacted in the opposite direction. Like the Chiefs blew out the Raiders, who didn't play cover 2, and then they beat the Cowboys, but that was mostly a defensive win. And now we're all like, Mahomes is back. Like, wait a second, no, like Mahomes isn't back. That's not a great 2-game stretch from Patrick Mahomes.
No, he hasn't played well. Like, he hasn't been
Hmm.
amazing all of a sudden again. But I do
Right.
think the teams played better, and they've obviously won the games too, which also helps.
Sure. Hmm.
Um, I, I think the impressive thing to me has been the defensive side of the ball. I think the defense
Hmm.
actually looks pretty good. And it's not even like that they're just like decent now because they were the worst in the league at one point, and they've been very
Hmm.
good lately. Um, Here's an interesting one I haven't heard because he's missed time. He was also kind of had a slow start because of the beginning of the season. Based on how he's gotten better throughout the season and played at basically what I think is might be the best defensive tackle in football right now besides Aaron Donald, could Chris Jones get some Defensive Player of the Year buzz?
Interesting. Probably not, because like I don't see how you can argue he's been more about. I don't know if he's been more valuable than Aaron Donald. And also when you have like T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett who have been as good as they've been, I would say no.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting because he's played out of his mind since they put him back at his normal position.
Right.
And I think if they did this at the beginning of the year, who knows where this team is?
Yeah, listen, if you made Myles Garrett and TJ Watt play nose tackle for 4 games, maybe he is getting votes.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. So, I mean, yeah, I just think talent-wise, I still think the Chiefs are a better team than everyone, so it's really just hard to pick against them. But I do think this line's crazy because I think that the Broncos should cover this.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move on. Why don't you give me a game?
All right. I'm just going to give you this one because I think it's – no, wait. You did give me that one. Okay. I'm going to give you this one because I think it's the worst favorite left on the board. I'm going to give you Eagles at Jets.
Okay, Eagles at Jets. We're having, coming off of just an awful performance by Jalen Hurts. That was just not pretty whatsoever. The flip side is that you're playing the Jets. So the Eagles are going to win this football game. I mean, that's just kind of the thing. And I know the Jets have actually, they've won 3 games and beaten a couple of good teams. The Jets are still awful. The Jets are still a really bad football team. I think the Eagles should have no problem this way defensively. The Jets with Zach Wilson, we'll just say it's a learning curve. And so I don't know. It's been tough for the New York Jets. You beat you were able to get a win last week. I don't know how much I really care about that. I think the Eagles are the better team. I would say the Eagles win.
I obviously agree. I mean, it's the right pick. People laughing at the Jets pick here. I mean, the road doesn't get prettier for the rest of these games. Trust me.
Yeah.
I guess the one thing could be like, I think what I said last week too, when it was a principal bet against the Texans, that I hope everybody won money on because it was stupid the Texans getting points.
Yep.
I think there's at least real pros on this Jets team. And we've seen them with that defensive line. I think still has some good players on it. Could they disrupt the Eagles' running attack, do things like that, make this interesting? Probably not, but could they make things interesting?
Yeah, I could see them run the ball effectively. How pissed off must the Titans be that Zach Wilson has looked like an undrafted free agent against every other quarterback, and he just completely went off against them and just torched them and was making these incredibly accurate. It wasn't even like he was just hitting open guys. He was making insanely athletic throws down the field. The Titans fans must be thinking, what did we do to you, Zach Wilson? Why are you attacking us this way?
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's it's one of those things that's that defense has gotten a lot better since that game too. I just don't get it. Very weird game, I thought. That's definitely the biggest anomaly game of the season, right?
Ooh, possibly. I mean, the Jets have had a couple of those, so it's one of the Jets games probably.
I think so too. Just weird stuff, but hey, maybe they could pull off the upset here.
Maybe another anomaly. The Patriots losing to anybody.
Yeah, I know. Anomaly. They should be undefeated right now.
Yeah, really. I mean, probably even better than undefeated.
I mean, is Mac Jones really the MVP this season? I mean, people are asking.
Who's asking?
Just me.
What's fascinating about Zach Wilson too is he's actually had a lot of success. It's weirdly where he's had his most success has been throwing the ball 20 plus yards down the field. I think he's actually top 5 in Pro Football Focus rating on those types of throws. So if you get him to there still is that. That's kind of why I haven't fully given up hope on Wilson, although I do acknowledge he's been bad this season. But I don't know how that's going to come into effect. Philadelphia kind of takes away that deep stuff. So this is maybe not the game to get too excited for if you're, if you bought a Zach Wilson jersey on draft night.
Yeah, I mean, he's good at exactly what we thought he was good at. I mean, that's what he was good at in college, and it's translated to the NFL. He's just figuring out the other stuff that he needs to clean up in his game.
Yeah, and we'll see if he does. Again, part of me too, I feel like it's like he just gets the footwork down. I think that would fix a lot of his issues, but we'll see. Which I always feel like I'd rather a guy who has some technique issues but has the insane talent than a guy who doesn't have any technique issues and is still struggling.
Yeah, fair enough. But I think
All
we
right.
talked enough about this one. We can move on.
Yeah, it's gross. Let's move on to an exciting game, a real barn burner. I'm going to give you Vikings at Lions. These are two teams we just love watching. Kyle, will this be the week the Lions finally get a victory?
No, it won't. I will tell you, though.
It took a game-winning field goal last time.
It did.
Mm-hmm.
I'll still take the Vikings. I'd probably bet -7.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift's out too, and that's basically been their offense. I don't know. I'll tell you what, though. I'm probably not going to watch this game.
Okay.
Because I'm sick of watching this Vikings team. I feel like I've watched
Wait, hold on. You're not going to watch this game because you're sick of the Vikings?
Yes.
Not the Lions? How are the Lions? You're fine with the Lions. It's the Vikings that are the issue.
But I made a deliberate choice all season to glance at the Lions game to have enough information. I feel like I've watched just about every Vikings game this season.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I just can't.
Okay.
I don't know how people are Vikings fans and don't do drugs. Honestly, I just don't get it. Yeah, how do you sit through those games and just stressed out?
Yeah, I think. Well, hey, the Vikings have played some really good games. The Vikings, I believe every single game has been within one score. No, they beat the Seahawks by 13. Weirdly, the Seahawks are the one team that had a normal victory against. Other than that, every game has been within 8 points.
Yeah, I mean, I think wasn't last week the first loss they had that was larger than 4 points?
Yeah, I believe, or it was at least more than 7. But it was more than 7.
So they had 2 games, one game 7, 1 game 8, and then everything else was 4 or less. I mean, just a wild season. I mean, like I said, I don't know how you do it without doing just copious amounts of drugs.
So are you saying you recommend drugs for Vikings fans?
Yes.
How?
Yes.
Can we say this on YouTube? Are we going to get demonetized?
I don't know.
For legal reasons, that was a joke.
Yes. Yeah. Of course.
All right. Speaking of doing drugs, the Lions are playing in this game. I mean, I don't get how so maybe this is this why I hate the Lions and no one else seems to mind? Is simply because I'm the one person watching Lions games other than Lions fans?
Yeah, probably.
I'm the one guy.
I mean, this is going to be a rough watch if Swift isn't out there, right? What even do you get excited about?
But can't you see the Vikings just say we got to establish the run and it's running the ball 40 times a game in this one and barely getting any points going?
Yeah, but I mean, they still should win by 13. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just fair.
The most exciting thing about Lions games is that any hit could lead to Tim Boyle playing.
Yeah, I'm still so bummed out that we're not going to see a Thanksgiving of Tim Boyle. We were robbed of that. Let's move off this gross game. Kyle, it doesn't get a lot better from here, but where are you going?
I'll give you Cardinals at Bears.
Okay, Cardinals at Bears. I like the Cardinals in this one, obviously. I think I would probably pick the Cardinals even -7. I guess the one interesting thing is you could see the Bears kind of saying, we're going to try to run the ball a lot. The Cardinals haven't had the best run defense, and the Bears have been able to run the ball successfully. So that's how you talk yourself into it, right? It's the Bears just run the ball constantly against the Cardinals run defense. The problem is you look like the rest of football, and that's where the Cardinals just have massive advantages everywhere else across the board.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem when you can do everything better than the other team.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, quite honestly, the Bears running game has been okay, I guess, the last few weeks. I mean, they had those couple Khalil Herbert games where he went off. But outside of that, I mean, it's just been fine to me. They would really need a big game to make this one interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's been maybe better than okay. I don't know, the exact, don't know exactly how much better than okay, but it's maybe you're right. I mean, looking at the numbers now, it's not what I think it says 21st in rush EPA. So I guess you're right. Maybe my perception was higher than reality there. So yeah, I guess that makes it stop. I mean, the one thing is you at least have kind of a weaker run defense to go against, but I don't know
Yeah.
who's getting open against this team. The flip side is like, okay, you'll play your cover 2 zone, and if you're Chicago, and hope that you can stop the run still pretty consistently. But like for Arizona, they can still get explosive against cover 2. That's what they've been able to do consistently. Kyler could be back, which would be awesome. And if he is, I just think that I think this is just an easy win for Arizona.
Yeah, Kyler versus Justin Fields could be fun. I think that's what this game has going for it, but the Cardinals should win pretty easily.
Yeah. Crafty Knee in the chat is going to this game. How do you feel about Crafty Knee going to this game?
That's pretty crafty. That's cool. Have fun.
Yeah, that should be good. Hopefully you're a Cardinals fan. Maybe not. Probably not if it's in Chicago.
Hopefully you're staying warm.
Yeah, there you go. That's the real thing. Ready to move on?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe we could have spent another minute on it, but whatever. We'll move on. Kyle, why don't no? So I give you a game here. I am going to give you. I'll give you my team. I picked your team. You're going to pick my team. Are you going to lock up the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? You still have to get a lock in. So it's either this one or whatever is left over. Where are you going?
I'm not locking this game up, but I am taking the Buccaneers. I mean, we saw this story. I mean, the Buccaneers are going to be able to throw the ball. I mean, they're going to be able to do anything they want offensively. And it just comes down to, can they stop this team a few times? I think the surprising thing about the last time was that Cordarrelle Patterson had some success. I mean, he's had success by everybody against everybody this season. But, when you're talking about Tampa Bay's run defense, obviously that's a different story altogether, but it's because he's such an impact in the passing game too. So maybe he continues to find success and they find some points, but they're not keeping up with Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Also, Crafty Knee lives in Chicago, but he's a Cardinals fan. So there you go. Also, I like this comment. Luke Brown, LOL, Falcons win by 20. I like Luke Brown becoming a Buccaneers hater because I do not believe in the Miami Dolphins. I think that is fun. Yeah, I don't know. I think the Falcons could potentially have some success. I mean, the thing I keep going back to is like the Buccaneers secondary is banged up. Although we keep saying that, and one thing we should mention is Tampa Bay has like really good safeties. And so that's kind of one saving grace is like, Winfield obviously had that incredible interception last week. And then they've had Jamel Dean play consistently. Sean Murphy Bunting is back. So what his coverage unit is kind of one that we kind of glance at and say, okay, that's not good. Like they have a lot of injuries. It's actually still covered pretty well. Like their defense has not been an issue this season outside of some moments. And even when they've had their issues, they've generated turnovers. And that's what happened the last time these two teams played. Was Atlanta was able to move the ball, but Mike Edwards, a safety, had back-to-back pick sixes. So that's fascinating. I still think I could see Atlanta putting up some points in this, but you're right. It's just for one thing, Tom Brady just hates the Falcons. I mean, poor Falcons fans when they have to see Tom Brady.
I think we say this every time they match up too the last 2 years. But yeah, I mean, all the matchup leads to them. Like you said, I think this was a 3-point game. And then like there was like 2 straight turnovers for the Falcons that basically
2 straight pick sixes by the same player.
So yeah, I mean, I think this one is still going to be a pretty comfortable win for the Bucs.
Yeah, this chat. Do the Buccaneers have a single impressive win this season besides the Dallas game? Yeah,
Didn't
Kyle, had
happen
they
last
beaten
year.
Had they beaten any good teams this season? I can't seem to remember.
Oh, nope.
No, yeah, well, I think for one thing, I think the Colts are pretty good. Just beat them last week, so that's another team, right? Colts.
Yeah, I mean they've definitely beaten more playoff teams this year than last year, and last year they won the Super Bowl, so they have that going for them. We're just not going to talk about that Week 4 game.
Yes, exactly. That Nick Folk missed field goal still keeping you up at night, Kyle.
The funny thing is he's been like the best kicker in football outside of the one kick.
I voted for him for the Pro Bowl. Like I was like, cause I did 3 AFC guys. And I'm like, hey, Justin Tucker, Chris Boswell. I was like, that's Nick Folk. Like he's been number 3.
Is he in your MVP consideration?
Ooh, well, I mean, he's gonna have to be. I mean, yeah, well, maybe Nick Folk, maybe Justin Tucker. We'll see. It's probably going to a kicker this year.
I'd be for it.
How about Younghoe Koo?
Koo's been good again this year, right? So, I mean, I'm okay with it. The one thing I will say, the best thing I ever did in my life was take kickers out of fantasy football. It's the dumbest thing ever.
That's the best thing you've ever done in your life?
Yes. I get stressed out when I lose by
Kyle,
a kicker.
What are you doing with your
points.
life if that's number 1?
Not a whole lot of success. So,
Wait, okay, sorry. I'm jumping on you. Why do you take kickers out of fantasy football?
Because it's stupid to have a kicker get 17 fantasy football points in a week, and that's how somebody wins.
But isn't
With
fantasy football inherently just completely like mostly luck based and stupid to begin with?
Well, I removed the luck base out of my league, so
How?
well, I mean, I do a lot of different. I change a lot of the scoring setup, so you know, I change a lot of the scoring setup to make it a lot more difficult. I'm not going to get into all the nitty gritty here.
Luke Brown in chat. Kyle is married, but says the best thing was getting rid of kickers in fantasy football. All right, there you go, Kyle. In fairness, I'm
I said what I said.
In fairness, I think there's a pretty good chance your wife is not making it 56 minutes into our week 13 preview.
No, I think I'll be okay on that one.
Yeah, probably. Let's move on from that game. A couple games we have to slog through. Kyle, we have the Jaguars, Rams, and Colts, Texans. So my guess is you're giving me Jaguars, Rams so you can lock up the Colts, Texans. Am I correct about that?
You would be correct. Go ahead and pick the Jaguars, Rams. Really tough game, I know. Who are you taking?
Yeah, give me Jacksonville. No, give me the Rams. This is an obvious pick. I think the Rams, I know that they've struggled. I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen with Matthew Stafford. I mean, Matthew Stafford was really bad against the Packers. I broke down that game. He missed a ton of throws. So Stafford's not playing well right now. But this is also kind of what Matthew Stafford is, right? He's a streaky player, and he will miss throws. He will have bad games, but then he'll have good games. And against a defense where he should have success, I do like the Rams here. Don't know if I like the Rams minus 13, though. I'm going to throw that out there.
I think that's fair. So here's the question I have. Because now we're hearing the talk of Matthew Stafford isn't healthy, and that's why they're struggling. That's just been the rumors. I don't know anything about it or anything like that. Is this a week where you could rest Matthew Stafford then?
You know, I never am a big fan. I think if you would have started him against, another team, I think you probably still. I would say no. I would say I want Matthew Stafford to be out there if he's healthy because it's the NFL. Anything can still happen.
Yeah. I guess that's probably fair. It's just interesting to have the conversation because I'm just not really sure what's going on. But yeah, he's not playing particularly well right now. And similar to Dallas against New Orleans, but I mean, this is even less competitive a game. I feel like the Rams just kind of need to get right this game. I feel like I feel like the Rams, if they, get a big lead early, they're going to try and go and like beat this team by 40.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, I could see Odell having like some big play, or honestly, I could see the flip side. I could see like him throwing a pick six to Odell and keeping that going. But again, going back to the last point, I just don't know how much I trust. I looked it up. It's still John Wolford as the backup quarterback. Don't know how much I love the AAF legend John Wolford.
Could they still trade for Tim Boyle right now? Too late.
Ooh, maybe. Yeah, I think that trade should be allowed if you're trading for the worst player to ever play NFL football.
I like how this guy's just taking over Nathan Peterman's. How does Nathan Peterman feel about this? He's got to be pretty disappointed.
But like Nathan Peterman, like earned a spot in the NFL by being like a solid, like a competent college quarterback, and then just like had a horrible, it's really one horrible half of football, and then hasn't played good because he's not an NFL caliber quarterback. Like Tim Boyle never should have been on a roster to begin with.
I imagine Tim Boyle's family like goes to the same yacht club of an NFL owner, and like that's how he got in. He just got in through connections.
That good. Maybe he's like a golfer, and like he like the owner of like the Packers and then the Lions both golf a lot, and that's how he got in.
It's possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Not sure how we got onto this tangent. I love how later in the show when we get to the bad games, we just go on random tangent. I guess the one thing is, could this Rams defense sort of have a get right game a little bit? I think the Rams defense has maybe the numbers don't back up how talented they actually are. I could see them doing well against T-Law, who has had some ups and downs this season.
Yeah, but on the flip side, could Lawrence have some success in this game? Could he find a way to have some success in this game? Probably not throwing at Jalen Ramsey, but could he have some success at the other guys?
I wouldn't bet on it.
Right, but I mean, I do think that I think this Rams defense right now is kind of shaky. So I think it's possible he finds a couple big plays. I've seen progression into Lawrence every week. I think he's getting actually decent.
What alcohol is Trevor Lawrence?
What alcohol is Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Is Trevor Lawrence just a beer where it's something you don't like at first, but it grows on you?
No, I think he's. I don't know yet. I think he's going to be. I don't know. He's still brewing. Is the problem? He's still going. I guess
Okay.
he could be like a nice like microbrew. That's fair. Where it's
Hmm.
like once it ages correctly and it's on the shelf, it actually tastes pretty good, and you begin to appreciate it. But it just needs some time. It just needs some time to get ready.
Yeah, I think also while we're doing the drink analogies, this is the fun thing for Matthew Stafford. Maybe he's like a good, he's like a cheap beer. He's like a natty light, where it's like there's times when he's absolutely what you want, and then there's sometimes where like get that away from me.
Uh,
You're not
yeah.
going to that. Not a natty fan.
I'd have to think about. I got put on the spot for a couple of these. I'd have to think long and hard about Matthew Stafford. Um,
Okay, we'll let you. You know that's your homework for the week. Come back with Trevor Lawrence and Matthew Stafford drinks.
I'll have one for all 32 quarterbacks for Sunday. How's that?
Okay, that would be a
We'll
good.
go.
You know, what? You record that video. I'll post it on this channel. Just what drink is every single NFL quarterback?
I got you.
Okay, there we go. There we got it. Someone said love to collab, man. Hopefully, you get it. Kyle, someone wants to collab with you.
All right. I don't have a YouTube channel though.
Well, figure that out. Let's move on. Let's go to the final. Okay, I appreciate the super chat. Final game. Kyle, you are locking up the Texans here, so they're the underdogs, so they do not have to cover, just have to win. So I think it's a probably smart lock here, locking up the Houston Texans.
Yeah, that's not who I'm going to lock up. I'm going to lock up the Colts. We just saw this game like 6 weeks ago, and the Colts won 31-3. I don't really feel Tyrod Taylor's playing, so I guess that's a little better. So it might be like, but the Colts are better right now. So it might be like 38-10. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I just don't really see why this is why this is single digits. I think that this is a blowout. I think that the Colts are a significantly better team. I think they're going to be able to run all over the Texans. They're going to be able to throw all over the Texans, and they're probably going to stop a lot of what the Texans do. So yeah, Colts by I think they win this game by 14.
Yeah. TJ Levy said, so you told Kyle to make a video. That means no video is happening. Yep, that's how it works. You catch on quickly here. Yeah, I agree. When I made my I did my top 5 favorite bets of the week. That's coming out probably Saturday is when I'll have that. I work ahead here, Kyle. I had this as one of my bets, which was a Colts covering 8.5. I'm with you. I guess just because it's in Houston, but like I guess I was going to say, do Houston fans care? They do, which is odd. They shouldn't care. Houston, why do you care? Well, let your team just don't. Why are you going? Why are you still going to football games if you're a Texans fan? Like, who bought season tickets to this game, to this season? Like, what are you? What is wrong with you?
Well, you could have renewed before the whole Deshaun Watson thing happened, I guess.
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough season, but they'll bounce back in
I mean,
like
here's the
5
thing.
years.
If you want to go to football games, I like going to football games just to have a good time. You know, they'll probably lose, but whatever. I get that. But to the people that are like cheering at the top of their lungs, like, let's go after you go up, like, or after you kick a field goal to make it 14-3. Those are my favorite kinds of people, I think.
That's a rare breed, honestly. I don't know how they do it, but
I
someone's
remember
got to be there.
I remember going to Buccaneers games, and it's like the amount that some people cared. You know, this is actually a funny story. My dad told a story of I believe this was probably the 80s when the Buccaneers were obviously horrible, and he went to a Buccaneers game back at the old Sombrero, and he went with a friend who was a Buccaneers fan. And at one point there was like a bad call, and so his friend stands up and starts shouting at the ref, like, "Are you kidding me? How could you call that?" And my dad at first thought it was a joke because he just couldn't believe that someone actually cared about the Buccaneers, like, to that degree. Like, he couldn't, it didn't process through his head, like, someone like could care that much about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said he nearly stood up and started shouting with him, just like to go with the joke until he realized he was serious.
Yeah. It's tough. I gotta say though, I haven't had a lot of experience cheering for bad teams.
Okay, well, sorry that you should have happened, but then of course, stupid Bill Belichick goes out and drafts a stupid good quarterback.
Yeah, hasn't happened to me yet, really. So I had a
Wait a
7-9
second,
season.
you're a Knicks fan.
Yes.
So what do you mean you've had plenty of experience cheering for bad teams? What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's fair. I kind of blocked them out when they suck. But the thing is I just love basketball, so I typically watch anything. So, I mean, when the Knicks stink, I just pick another team to watch or pick
Yeah, I guess
other games to watch.
I get that. Kind of the same way with football for me, where it's like, obviously I'm a huge Tampa Bay fan, but it's like, I almost think I care more about like the Lightning and the Rays than I do the Buccaneers. Cause like if the Buccaneers suck, well, I'll still watch other football. Like that's still fun. But like with hockey, it's like if the Lightning are out, then I'm done with hockey for the season.
That's me with like the Red Sox and the Bruins too. I'd agree. So
yeah. All right. Okay. So that is our show. Kyle, how do you think you're going to do this week? Are you going to have another game where you get 5 picks wrong and still somehow move up in the standings due to a stupid lock pick that's totally unfair?
Hey, I'm red hot with my locks right now. I'm doing pretty good with those. I mean, a lot of it has to do with betting the Patriots, but I do think I'm feeling pretty good. I'm going to take over this week. I'm taking over the lead.
Okay. Well, hey, it's a 1-point game. I mean, anything could happen. This is going to come down to the postseason. Remember, last year it was close, and then in the postseason, that's when I pulled away.
Yeah, I think the mistake I made in the postseason last year was I just tried to pick everything against you. Not happening this year.
It was the conference championships. I remember. I think we were like tied in the conference championships, and then I went 3-0 the rest of the way. That's what killed you. You went 0-2 because you didn't pick the Super Bowl because you were down.
Yep. So, well, we'll see how it goes.
Yes, we'll see how it goes. All right. So that's our show. Kyle, let them know where they can find us before we head out.
Yeah, make sure to follow us. That's at Jackson Kruger. Make sure to follow me at by Kyle Grondin. And make sure to follow the account page. That's at On the Sideline JK. That's at On the Sideline JK. All on Twitter.
Yes. All right. Kyle, any final thoughts before we head out?
Once again, looking forward to week 13, lucky 13. Hopefully another Patriots win. And I hope people don't have to watch the Vikings and Lions that much. And if you do, and are a Vikings fan or a Lions fan, I hope you have a nice drink or something next to you.
Yeah, maybe some nice wings or something. Maybe get a pizza.
Yeah, mainly just the alcohol or anything.
Okay. So, I imagine. I mean, again, I think this is going to be my second Midwest joke. From what I understand, my girlfriend is from Wisconsin. Drinking very prevalent, especially this time of year in that area.
Yeah,
I don't think I have to tell them.
Vodka and cold syrup, that works.
All right.
That probably gets me through the Vikings.
the Vikings have been like an incredibly... I'm very fascinated by the Vikings. They're not well coached.
I am too, and that's why I'm taking a week off. I can't do it.
All right. Well...
That's an interesting team. I agree.
Okay. Well, again, thanks to everyone for watching. We do appreciate it. We will see you on Sunday at midnight Eastern to break down everything that happens, break down the greatest game of the year in the Vikings-Lions, probably. And of course, until next time, peace.
Peace.